So we come to Chakravakasana or Pat posture. So you start with your hands under your shoulders, knees under the hips, and just gently take the navel to the spine. And think about the alignment of your neck. So you might like to look down at the floor. And then we're just going to start by rolling the pelvis. So just making circles with the pelvis, just to warm up that pelvic area in the lower back. Remember, you can rest out at any time. It's your yoga practice and your body. So you listen into how you're moving. And then we'll roll pelvis in the other direction. If you can, just gently keep the navel to the spine without taking it in too far. Just getting a bit of tone into the core. And then come back to neutral cat. And imagine space between the crown of the head and the tailbone. And then we're going to breathe in and lift the heart. Exhale as we arch the spine and drop the head. Everything goes. Inhale, lift the heart. Don't take the head too far back. Exhale, navel to spine. And just a couple more in your own breathing rhythm. And then pause. And just for a moment, think about your hand position and your knee position. So classically in the kind of Iyengar school of yoga, the hands are always under the shoulders. But for many of us, that's too strong on the wrists. So if you're more comfortable, take your hands slightly forward and apart. Have the fingers apart. Don't have any pressure on the inside of the palm of the hand. The pressure is more on the fingers. And then we're going to inhale and lift the left back leg in line with the hip and the right arm. And then as we exhale, we're going to take that left knee into the forehead. And then inhale, we stretch up again. Exhale, knee comes to forehead. Inhale, stretch back up again. Exhale, bring the hand and the knee back to the mat. And then just rest out. So if it's comfortable for you, you can rest back in pose of child. You can sit back on your heels, open your knees so you've got room for your diaphragm. And then I suggest you make two fists and rest your forehead on the fists. And classically, in pose of a child, the forehead comes all the way to the mat, but that's quite a lot of strain on the back of the neck. So it is quite nice just to make the two fists and then just rest. And if that's not a position that's comfortable for you, you can, of course, lie on your mat. And again, this pause I was talking of earlier, just letting the body recalibrate. Seeing, you work one arm and one leg to see how the limbs are feeling, how the shoulders feeling. Where is my breath? And then when you're ready, and if you would like, we're going to take that to the other side. So in your own time, come back to Chakravakasana, cat. Again, think about your posture, navel to spine slightly. Space between the crown of the head, fingers spread. And again, we'll just do some cat movements. So we're going to breathe in, lift the heart. Exhale, rounding the spine, dropping the head. Inhale, lifting the heart. Don't take the head too far back. Exhale, navel to spine as we round. Just a few more movements like that, feeling that lovely wave-like sensation along the spine. And then coming back to neutral cat, we'll take this now to the other side. So think about stretching out your right leg in level with the hip and the left hand. Palm comes in, it's not facing down. You're looking down at your mat to keep the alignment in the neck. Take a couple of breaths. And then, if it's not too much for you, you're going to breathe out. Take the knee towards the chest. Breathe in and open. Breathe out. Knee to chest. Breathe in and open. And then once more in your own breathing rhythm, or if that's enough for you, rest out. When you want to come out of the posture, hand comes back to the mat, knee comes back, and then again, if you would like, rest. Pose the child on your back. And as you're resting, just imagine somebody massaging your back. And then from pose of a child, we're going to try a posture called the rabbit. Now this is like a very mini headstand, but without all the effort of a headstand. It's not for everybody, but you can try it if you like. Now for some of you, you might like to put some padding down for your head. All we're going to do is to roll and pose the child onto the crown of our head. So if you want to look up, please do. So I have my support about here, resting my forehead, and in pose of the child, all I'm going to do is roll forward into my crown of my head. Take 2 or 3 breaths and roll back. And you can try that again. Rolling onto the crown of the head. Try not to put any pressure on the neck. There is a bit of pressure, but be careful. Particularly if you've got high blood pressure and it's not controlled, or any eye problems, you shouldn't be doing this. And then coming back. And then again, resting. Let the blood pressure return to normal. So actually I'm going to suggest that you rest on your backs. So rest on your backs with your knees bent, feet hip width apart. And again, just let the body take in that information, recalibrate. And if you feel you've done enough, then you can rest out more. Otherwise, we're going to move into the bridge posture now. This time, we're going to move, as we breathe in, we're going to lift the arms behind us as we push on the feet to lift the hips, to come onto the shoulders. If you're not sure, you can look as I demonstrate. So first of all, remove anything from under your head, lengthen the back of your neck, chin into chest, stretch the hands down beside you. Feel that contact with the feet and your hands. And then when you're ready, breathe in, lift up the arms, lift up the hips, and then navel to spine, breathing out, rolling the spine down, and the palms come down. And you can take yourself through that once or twice more, depending on your energy levels. Keep listening into your body. Keep moving in a way that's kind to your body. Lift the arms first, then the spine and the arms come down. So only move in a way that feels comfortable for you. And then when you're ready, take one knee, then the other over the belly, rock out the spine from side to side. drop the feet to the mat, so your knees are bent. And again, just to have a mini rest. So you might like to turn the palms up to the ceiling. Close the eyes. And bring your awareness to your breath. Just focusing on a long, smooth exhalation. And always remember that the function of yoga is to calm the mind. So the most important yoga sutra is Chitta Vritti Nirodha. And it means that the state of yoga comes about when the mind is quiet. Well, that's a very vague translation. There are other translations. But one of the reasons we do the postures, obviously we're doing it to help to tone our body, to help our fitness levels a little as we recover from illness. But another purpose behind this, what makes it different, say, from Pilates, or ordinary exercise, is that we are aiming for a peaceful, quiet mind. And the movement combined with the breath begins to bring that about. So begin to just focus on the exhalation. And focus on the pause after the exhalation. When you're ready, roll to one side. Take some time there to let the blood pressure come to normal, particularly if you've got POTS or any blood pressure problems. When you're ready, taking your time, please come up to standing. And then adjust my camera now. Okay, so we're going to start in Tadasana, or Samastiti it's called in my tradition, where we think about our posture. So start by bringing your feet together. Make a V, bring out the heels. And then take a moment to think about your feet. Your feet are so important. How you place them really has a huge impact on the rest of the joints in the body, ankles, your knees, your hips, and of course your back. So just sway forward and back till you come back to center, and then left to right until you come back to center. And then just lift your toes and spread your toes and bring them back down to your mat. And then focusing on the spot to help you balance, lift your heels and then slowly drop the heels. We're going to do this a few times because calf raising is really good for the circulation in our legs. So we're going to breathe in, lift the heels, breathing out slowly as if we're pushing against treacle, coming back down. Let's do this 3 or 4 times more. And if your balance is shaky, keep focusing on the spot, or you can take your arms out to the side to help you. Remember, the more we practice the balancing, the better our balance becomes. And then just have this sense of the feet grounding you. Feel almost as if you're inhabiting your feet. And then knees are soft, we've not got the knees locked. We're going to think about our lower back and our pelvis. So just check, push the pelvis forward, take it back. So just be aware where that kind of neutral place is, so that you've got a bit of space in the lower spine. So it can help to put your hands there, just to check.
And in yoga, we're always thinking about making space in the body. It's all about space. So now think about space in the ribs as we gently lift up without any strain or tension, just making room for the diaphragm. And then we're thinking about space in the upper body, because this is often where we tend to constrict and round. And we can do this because we've been ill, or do it from looking at phones and laptops. So let's have this sense of lifting our hearts, navel to spine slightly. I know I said in the past, you might like to imagine you're wearing a beautiful jewel on your heart that you're showing off. So you're not pushing over it, you're lifting it up. And then as you do this, the shoulder blades naturally come back together. You're not forcing your shoulders. I remember when I was growing up, it was always kick your shoulders back. It was like a very forced movement. So there's nothing forced in it, but it's just more like an opening and softness around the front of the body. And then feel that the arms are almost like wings. And we're going to breathe in, lifting our wings up to shoulder level. Exhaling, letting them float slowly back. Inhale the wings up. Exhale and float back. Try small in your own breathing rhythm. Feeling them soft. And now, so the middle finger is in line with your legging or trouser seam. And now we're going to think about the position of our neck. Because this is something I've had to work on a lot, because when I was ill and then over, looking at phone, we've got this kind of down forward head poke. And we want to realign the neck and head because that takes up so much energy. So I always suggest you nod your head up and then bringing it down, tuck the chin into the top of the chest, so you're lengthening through the back of the neck. And then you're thinking of your ears being in line with your shoulders. Close your eyes just for a moment or two, breathing up through the soles of your feet, breathing up energy into your heart and down on the exhalation, and just feel somatically, so just experience how this posture feels to you. And if you like, you can have slight navel to spine just to encourage that tone in the core. So just feel, what does this feel like? And it might be, particularly if you've been ill, that open posture feels strange. So it's something we want to work towards and get used to. And then I said that we were going to do a bit of movement with the shoulders today. On your right arm, I want you to make slow circles. Keeping the torso as forward as you can, it will go back a bit. We're just working into that shoulder. This is a bit stronger than the shoulder rolls we use. Obviously, if you've got a sore shoulder or shoulder problems, you're not going to do this. So if you get any pain, you don't push through it. And then you can take that in the opposite direction. And then just stop, rest, feel how that right shoulder feels. It might feel a bit achy because you've been moving it and working it, but what we're doing is encouraging it to open, to unstiffen it. And when you're ready, we'll take that to the left side. Again, if you've got pain, be careful, stop. And you might notice that one shoulder is stiffer than the other. So for me, this shoulder is more stiff because it's my dominant side. So be kind. If you're too stiff or in pain, then rest. And then we can move this the other way. And then when you're ready, again, pause, come back to Samasthiti, close your eyes. Bring your energy back into your body. If it's scattered away, come back into your body and just explore your body. Just observing how you feel without resisting anything. Being aware of the breath. Breathing up through the soles of the feet, up to the heart. Breathing out, down through the legs, out through the feet. Jaw is soft. Eyes are soft. Knees are soft. And then we're going to take some more energizing forward bends. And again, I want you please to listen to your body. If you feel this isn't for you, then you're not going to do it, or you're just doing it once or twice. But actually, it's helpful if you look at your screen now to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to breathe in, lifting my arms, and then I'm going to exhale through the mouth, fold from the hips, let the arms swing. And then the movement of the arms brings you back. This is a variation of the ha breath we did last week. Inhale. So just a couple of times more in your own breathing rhythm. And when you're ready, come back to Samasthiti. So as you come back to Samasthiti, just look at your feet. Have they moved? Remembering that posture that we explored at the beginning when we came up to standing, just see where your shoulders are now, where your back of your neck is, where your feet are. And then we're going to just gently sway the torso from side to side. And as we do this, the arms are going to follow. So movement's coming from the torso. And feel the arms are like ribbons, just gently flocking as you move. Resting out whenever you need to. And then beginning to slow down, let the momentum start naturally. And then eventually coming back to Samasthiti. And again, just exploring how you feel. Now, just a reminder, the purpose of this class is that we don't induce PEM, post-exertion malaise or a relapse. We're all different here. We've all got different energy levels. So you rest out whenever you need to. Please remember there is no shame in resting. There's no guilt in resting. And you will only get well by pacing and by listening to your body. So anytime anything's too much, take yourself back into Shavasana if you want to lie down. And that applies to all my classes. But I know I need to keep saying it because all of us like to keep doing and pushing. And it's always that reminder to just pull back and rest when you need to. So now I'm going to take a very gentle classic yoga asana, which is Warrior One. And actually, I'm going to demonstrate this first, so it might be helpful if you look at the screen just for this. So I'm going to take a gentle stride forward with my right foot. And I'm going to bend my right knee, keeping my pelvis forward. And as I bend the knee, I'm going to look down and check that the knee's not gone too far over the ankle. It's in line with my second and third toe. And then I've got my back leg really strong. So the temptation when we come to this bent front leg is that we kind of let the back leg go floppy. Have that back leg strong, almost as if you've got an arrow from the left heel going down into the earth. I'm going to take the hands to the heart, inhale and lift. Take 2 breaths here. Keep pushing into that back leg. Pushing is probably not the right word, but keep that back leg strong. Exhale, straighten the leg, bring the hands back to the heart. Inhale, bend the front knee, bring the hands over the head to namaste. Keep that back leg strong, because that's where the movement's happening. Exhale, straighten the knee, hands come to the heart, navel to spine. You might like to think about bringing the navel to spine on the exhalation. Once more, inhale to warrior one. Keep that back leg strong. Exhale. And then to come out of the posture, just take the hands to the side, put some pressure on the front leg, and bring it back to the back leg. Come to Samasthiti. And then if you would like, we'll take this to the other side. So gentle stride forward with the left leg this time. Bend the left knee, but think about keeping the knee over the ankle and over in line with the second and third toes. So if you just look at your screen a minute, I'm not doing that with my knee. It's really important we're not putting any unnecessary pressure on my knee. We're keeping it in line to keep that joint stable. And again, it's the pressure on the back leg. So think about the back leg being strong and that heel coming down to the earth. Take the hands to the heart. Inhale, hands to namaste over the head. Back leg strong. 2 breaths here. And then exhale, straighten the knee, hands come to the heart. Inhaling, knee bends slightly, hands to namaste, back leg strong. 2 breaths. Exhale, hands to heart. Once more in your own breathing rhythm, and then you come out of the posture. Coming back to Samasthiti. Again, just bring your awareness back into your body. Feel your body. Feel the aliveness of the energy body. Think about your posture. Think about the breath. Keeping your awareness only in your yoga practice, not letting it drift too far. Using the body or the breath as your anchor to keep you in the present moment. And then we're going to just do a very gentle side bend. So inhale, bring your arms up and just hold your left wrist with your right fingers. Can't quite see that because I can't go far enough back. And then we're just going to take a gentle bend to the left, opening up the right side of the body. Take 2 breaths here. And then back. And then swapping over the hands. Inhale to stretch up further. Exhale to the right, opening the left side this time. Taking 2 breaths here. Inhale, come up. Release the hands, exhale and lower. And then just roll the shoulders a couple of times to let them release from that side stretch. And then we're going to come into our shaking, which I always think is such a valuable sequence to put in a yoga session, especially when we're recovering. Because what we're doing is we're actually working by shaking off tension from the nervous system, because we all have held patterns very much in our body. And when we shake, it actually somatically helps to shake the tension off. But equally, it can be tiring, so only please do what feels right for you. So coming back to Samastiti, just checking your feet, we're going to start by letting the knees be soft, and we're just going to bounce up and down on our knees, letting the hands begin to go. And then beginning to move the torso, maybe shaking a bit more vigorously. Make it as gentle or as strong as you like. And just have a sense that you're really letting go, shaking out anything you don't want to hold on to anymore. Let it go, let it go. And then you might like to go from side to side. I think I might have told you the story of a friend of mine who went to an ashram in Bali with what was called the shaking guru. He's died now. But they would shake like for hours at a time. And she reckoned it got rid of all her PTSD. But how she had the energy for it, I don't know. So that's all we're going to do now. So very slowly, slowly stop, close your eyes, come to Samastiti, and just feel the aliveness and the energy from that. But just let yourself rest in this it's almost like a standing Shavasana posture. Again, this sense of resting, pausing, recalibrating, letting the body just take in that information. And then we're going to finish our standing sequence with a classic tree pose. I always try and do a balance for every class because it's so important, particularly for women as we get older, because we're more likely to have falls. But it's also very good for the central nervous system. I mean, it has all kinds of benefits when we do a balance posture. So as always, come to some support that you can place a hand on. I'm going to start with my right leg as my support. So I'm just saying that so that as I give the instruction, that might work for you, whichever way round you are. And I'm just going to place my hand, in my case, against the door. And I'm going to find a spot on the wall or the floor that I can focus on, something that's not moving. And then I'm going to lift the left foot over the right. Now already that's slightly thrown my balance. You might like to practice that just by bringing the palms together. Because for some people that's enough of a balance. But if you like to go further, coming back to your support, lift the sole of the left foot above the knee. So you're not putting any pressure on that right knee. So you're pushing into the right thigh with the sole of the foot. And then again, you can bring the palms together. The support's there if you need it. If you like, you can try the full posture, either bringing your hands above you together, or you can open them wide apart, which I find more helpful for my balance. Remember your support's there if you need it. Remember that we can balance some days better than others. And also we might find one side different from the other. And then when you're ready to come out, try to come out gracefully without falling out of the posture. Again, just stand, recalibrate. When you feel you're centered and balanced, we're going to come to the other side. So again, finding support. Just be aware of the supporting leg, which is going to be the left leg. When you're ready, lift the right foot over the left and bring the palms together. And find a spot to focus on that's not moving. You want to go further, come back to your support. and lift the sole of the right foot onto the left leg, but above the knee, so you're not putting any pressure on the left knee. And then when you're ready, palms together. Your support's there when you need it. And then lifting the hands up, palms together or apart. Letting the mind become still. And then when you're ready, coming out of the posture. And then please come back to your mat onto all fours again.